Coming to you live from a treehouse in central Iowa. It's SIMIAN Jimmy'S Treehouse Podcast, featuring SIMIAN Jimmy. And his guest today, the black-pilled brother with boisterous bravado, Eggy Eggman Rodriguez.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to SIMIAN Jimmy'S Treehouse Podcast, your favorite Eggy Friend Simulator podcast. I'm your host, SIMIAN Jimmy, joined as always by Eggy Eggman Rodriguez.
Well, actually, I decided to change my middle name to Elvis after I had an awakening yesterday when I saw the #1 film of the year. So now I'm Eggy Elvis Rodriguez, and I ain't nothing but a hound dog.
I think people decidedly listen to this show to avoid hearing movie reviews, but fuck it, I guess, after a life-changing experience, you really had your own Ryan Gosling and Drive, come to Jesus, or in this case, come to Elvis moment. Yesterday, Eggy and I, we went and saw that new Elvis movie, and Eggy, it seems to have affected your personality on a deep spiritual level. What's going on?
Well, my grandparents, they were big Beatle heads, they were big Elvis heads. They had an Elvis cardboard cutout in their house when I was growing up and everything like that. I never really quite understood it because, I never bought into the hype of any artist or anything like that. But after all these years of being something of an artist myself and seeing this deep, cutting portrayal in this film, I just realized that really I felt a lot of the same, and maybe it's just something a lot of performers feel. So I would say, did you not feel a deep spiritual connection to what Elvis went through yourself?
What specifically is really connecting to you?
Well, from his first gig, he's sweating, he's throwing up,
sweating and vomiting.
Well, I know that's what I just do every day already, but, the first time you get up and you really get out there and rock, you're trembling, and then, you just get in your stride, you start doing what you kind of shut off everything else. You're kind of like, when they told you when you were a kid, if you had to do a speech or whatever, just imagine that everybody's naked, and you're like, whoa, who came up with that? Jeffrey Epstein, I'm thinking. But anyway.
So really, is it more of you only feel you're truly alive, you're only your real self when you're up on the stage performing in front of your adoring fans?
Well, as there was a point in the movie a little bit later on where I think there's something like, The love from anybody else would never match the love he felt from the crowds.
Yeah, Tom Hanks plays Elvis's manager, and he's narrating the whole movie. And even though it's heavily suggested in real life that this manager basically led Elvis down the road of an early, death at 42 from a heart attack, the manager decides to blame the audience and says, Elvis died because of your love. You loved him too much, and he needed to be up on that stage getting your love. So, if you were a fan of Elvis back in the day, it is your fault.
I think, seeing myself and, my contemporary YouTube rock stars like King Cobra, when we take a few shots of that good stuff and we start belting it out, basically, we're pretty much literally Elvis. And so when I realized that, I'm like, now I've been putting down the sauce lately. I've been leaving it be.
Yeah, did Elvis ever try sobriety? Because that might have contributed to the heart attack.
Well, I think basically what was, like this whole dynamic of the part where he's kind of fighting between, is he going to go international, kind of like more for the fans, or stay at home, more for the money. And I think, the sobriety for me is sort of like spreading my wings a little bit, kind of doing something that's maybe not it's not going to get all the same kind of hits, all the same kind of clicks. Whereas like in Elvis, you might not have got the same kind of numbers, same kind of sales on certain things. But sometimes just something you got to do. And so basically, the parallels just kept coming. Mm-hmm. Every minute was a new parallel. And
well, I think if we're really going to make you the next Elvis, perhaps a certain monkey friend of yours should become your new manager, and we'll have a clean 50-50 split of all profits. You do all the work, I'll sit in the audience, and you can call me out and, say, oh, that's my great monkey manager. Look at him eating a banana. What a Chad. And, if you try to fire me, I'll sue you for $8 million. I think we can make these parallels really come to life.
Well, I think we want to see some comments below. Would a classic rock and roll album by yours truly, executive produced by Simeon Spins Records. You know what? Make sure to sound off if that's something that you would definitely upvote.
Yeah, the music is so good, you'll get so drunk from it that you'll feel like you have the spins. So it's an appropriate name for my record company.
It's like when when Elvis did that first thrust, and all of a sudden all those women fainted. I'm gonna let that first belch out from chugging a 40-ounce malt liquor. And we're all just going to go crazy.
Was Elvis just freeballing it? So when he was shaking in his pants, they could, see his package pretty clearly? Is that why the women were shrieking and screaming and fainting? They had never seen, a man's package before? What was going on? Is that realistic? Did that really happen in real life, that women were screaming and fainting when they saw him shake his cock?
I think never before at that time in all of decent civilization had a man just went up on stage and started swiveling about, perhaps thrusting from time to time.
So what is your equivalent? What do you do on live stream that makes the incel fans really cream in their jeans?
Well,
because those women, I have to assume, were incels at the time.
Basically, I don't want to. I do swivel and thrust. I'm not saying that's what the men come to watch. Although sometimes some men have voiced their opinions that is what they come to watch.
Good.
For me, I tend to go for more of the Italo disco route, which is about just as sexually charged for men already, as it were. But I really just like to feel the drive. I like to really feel the groove, and so I just get funky with it. I'm not so much with the bing bang boom. I'm kind of more with the the wave and the I guess the waves. Yeah, the waves of swag and funk, they kind of flow through me instead of kind of like the.
So if we're going to really make you the next Elvis for real, no cap, how are you going to die at a young age? Are we pursuing the age 42 death, or are you going to be the Elvis that lived?
Well, of course, I'm trying to be living to be 142 years old, but, considering the circumstances at this point already, I'm not going to go out of my way to be unhealthy, but, I might have done an irreparable amount of harm.
Too little, too late.
After enough bottles of 99 bananas and, smoking out of notebook paper as a kid or whatever else I was doing, eating all those cheeseburgers because I'm so patriotic.
Amp Lemon has proved even a vegan person can be extremely unhealthy. So I don't know if there's any solution to this issue. I think, you've done too much damage at this point. 42, you'd be lucky to make it that far. I'm surprised Elvis made it that far. You said his favorite food was to take a loaf of bread, hollow it out, and stuff it full of bacon. Is that true?
Well, I should maybe have my phone handy here real quick. I know there was the peanut butter and banana sandwich, but I think there was something called an Elvis loaf. Let me lean back real quick here and make sure... I could have done my research. Since I'm trying to literally be Elvis right now and everything like that.
Well, if he did just stuff a bunch of bacon into
the Elvis loaf.
If that's a real snack to be tested, maybe Elvis himself will join me for an episode of Snack Testers.
It's the Fool's Gold loaf.
Is that peanut butter and jelly in there?
So it consists of a single warmed, hollowed out loaf of bread filled with 1 jar of peanut butter, 1 jar of jelly, and
full jar?
And 1 pound of bacon.
What size fucking jar? What does that mean?
Well, I'm gonna guess it's standard. We could go for something smaller if you want to If you want to work your way up, we could have 12 ounces of bacon instead of a 16-ounce bacon.
What kind of loaf of bread is this? Should I just go buy a loaf at Jimmy John's or what?
That could be, we could have each have our own, so we could split it. We could have, each have our loaf of Jimmy John's bread with half a thing of peanut butter, half a thing of jelly, and half a pound of bacon.
Yeah, I'm looking at the photo. It does look kind of appetizing, honestly. We should make this. If we can... What kind of Elvis costume? Because he has a lot of costumes in the movie. Which one speaks to you that you want to wear?
Well, when he had that white, the all white, because like I said, I've had a couple different songs where I'm like... I'm all white like the moon because I'm fat and wearing all white.
And he's so powerful, so it could be like white power Elvis, really.
Well, egg white,
egg white power Elvis.
The sandwich's connection to Elvis Presley is the source of its legend and prolonged
because
interest.
It killed him?
According to the book, The Life and Cuisine of Elvis Presley, they took his... jet from Graceland, purchased 30 of these sandwiches, ate them for 2 hours while
what do you
drinking
mean
champagne.
Purchased? He didn't have to custom make this. They actually sold this fucking abomination in a store?
He was getting to that cash. Also, this is why I'm not like Elvis, because Elvis had a lot of sex and made a lot of money. Neither of which happens in my life. And you know what? That's okay, because just like Elvis said in the movie, he wanted to do what his heart told him to, and that was rock and roll.
Just like Elvis said in the movie, hey, I'm in Germany. The age of consent's only 14, baby. It's okay over here.
Just like he said in the movie, hey there, pimp. Those newspapers. Those newspapers were edited in Sony Vegas.
Yeah.
You didn't see me with the girl, outside your house. So basically, that means it's not real.
Well, yeah. Speaking of that, should we move on, or do you have more Elvis points you really need to get out there?
No, I think we already made up our mind. Jimmy John's.
Should we say if the movie is Kino, since we're not going to probably review this movie?
Yeah, I would say it definitely took me by surprise. I thought Northman was going to be my picture of the year, but Elvis is basically neck and neck with it as far as I'm concerned. If you're on the fence about it, if you got any kind of rock and roll in your soul, you know what I'm saying, I would highly recommend a viewing.
Yeah, I think just the presentation alone is worth the price of admission. This Baz Luhrmann guy, I really don't know much about him other than he made the Great Gatsby movie, and then he ghosted Hollywood for 8 years and came back with this. But just the way that it's filmed and edited, it's so crazy. It's unlike any movie I've seen in a long, long time. So I'd say it's worth it just for that.
Yeah, I'll say I want to give one more point too, because this is kind of carrying over from the Is It Kino from Minions, but there was a trailer for that for a children's movie musical called Monster High, and the choreography in that trailer was terrible. Fixed camera. This one, in 3, it'll be every 2 seconds, boom. They got all these angles. The lighting's perfect. The choreography is incredible. On all those fronts, the movie just home run. I'm talking grand slam, 3 bases loaded.
It's got breakneck speed pacing, and it's 3 hours long, so you're really, by the end, you're going to be exhausted. I think I fell asleep right when I got home.
You're probably going to want to have a jug in front of you watching it at home, because you don't want to miss a minute. But anyways.
I did pee 3 times during the film. Did I miss anything? Did Elvis start shaking his actual cock at the camera when I was, in the bathroom?
You don't really miss anything. If you go away for a couple minutes, you'll probably miss something, but you can kind of glean what you missed. Because the only time I really got up was then I came back. Elvis's mother had passed away, and I could glean because he's
because he's crying and sad and saying, "My mama did."
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of timeless heroes from the South, Eggy. Unexpectedly, our Wings of Redemption video is perhaps the greatest hit in snack testing history. 10,000 views within 2 weeks of release. Hard to believe. I truly regret posting it on this fucking dog shit Treehouse channel when it could have been an even bigger hit on the Simian Jimmy channel. Although, based on the video I just released on the Simian Jimmy channel, maybe it's doomed to not appear in anybody's subscription feed, so maybe it was better off over here. But surprisingly, people really loved it. I sat on the footage for half a year because I was like, I don't know, maybe nobody's going to think this is that funny. And I was completely wrong. Everybody fucking loved it. And we got, it was shared by Wings007 and Wings... Professional Predator? Is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
I was hoping for that Lummox shout out, but I think Lummox is actually literally dead. I think Jordy found out his address and went and sat on him, so... that
caught him slipping, got him with an automobile wreck in the new Trail Boss,
Yeah, so rest in peace, Lummox. Would have loved to get your opinion on our video, but before we move on to, perhaps a sequel of some kind, do you have any thoughts on the reaction or reception to this video?
Well, I kind of was feeling, because I remember that day, there's a part in the video after, the initial opening where I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm kind of a little low energy today, because I was actually kind of low energy that day. It's kind of like, we also did a King Cobra video that has a...
that is in production right now. And to be clear, I did not edit the Wings video, and that is why it was good, I believe. Eggy did 80% of the work while we were filming, and then my girlfriend did 100% of the work while editing. So really, my biggest success of the year, I was barely even in and did not work on at all. So, that feels pretty good. But go on.
So the Cobra video, it's hearkening back to what some have called the Spice era. And so, my tone in that video is yeah, what's up, guys? It's your boy. You know, so like it's a very much a hearkening to the particular video, and you know, having watched more Wings streams versus like Wings compilations, I was used to him just sitting there and doing nothing most of the time, and so that's how I kind of came into the video. But then I kind of, you know, once I got that chili in me and kind of pepped myself back up. But yeah, I kind of was like, you know, I wasn't feeling too much one way or the other about it. So I also was a little bit surprised that the reception was as good as it was, and so then, you know, I started busting out.
Maybe it was kind of like the original Star Wars, where, you know, famously they say like it was a disaster while filming, and editing like literally saved the film and made it good. Maybe we're in a similar boat here.
Well, I think me and you know, we're both kind of like Elvis, where, you know, we put something together and we're so much in our own heads about it, like, oh man, you know, that's not exactly what this was. That's not, you know, I got up on stage and that didn't sound exactly how I had thought it was going to sound or whatever. And the person who's watching or consuming or viewing or whatever, they're not going to have any idea that anything was like, you know, they have no idea about any of that. They just see where it comes out to be, and they, you know, enjoy it for the way they enjoy it. They love it for how they love it. And our, you know, anxieties or whatever we have stuck in our head ends up not having any relevance to how it's taken by the people who receive it.
Yeah, you need to find, you know, as a creator, and I'm not going to say artist because I don't know if our Wings of Redemption parody video would be considered art, but as a creator, you have to find the balance between being your own biggest critic, which, you know, is typically a good thing, because if you hate your stuff more than the audience does, you know, that's nothing but gold for the audience, right?
Oh, Jordan, he's a real cool dude. He's really into chili. You know, picture me sitting in a chair with playing PS5. That's art.
Oh yeah, some people might consider it art, but you have to find the balance between self-criticism and being such a perfectionist that you just give up and don't even release it, which is basically the route we were going on for, you know, the 6 months after the video was recorded.
Well,
so.
You know, that reminds me, I had this the series I was doing for a while called Eggy Foods. I think I did like maybe 3 or 4 videos, and I filmed about 7 more that I didn't release any of them because I felt like certain things about each of these videos was just not exactly how I wanted it.
Do you still have the footage?
One of the I did like a braised pork something. That one I ended up deleting entirely. But
why?
Because I had never even taken the footage off my phone to put it on my computer, and I had to like install some like fun anime game on my phone, so I just deleted
worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, all the other project files and everything, along with probably like 400 unreleased songs and hours of B-roll from things that I never released, are all sitting on multiple various hard drives that are just in my basement collecting dust.
Well, Eggy, almost every day, some 13-year-old on Twitter will message me and say, hey, let me edit your videos, I'll edit them for free. Maybe somebody in the audience would love to, you know, go through all your footage and put some shit together for you. I mean, people like to do that for some reason. I usually say no because, you know, I want to pay people, and I'm not paying some random kid I don't know to scrounge through all my footage. But, you know, if anybody in the audience wanted to, would you be down to clown?
Well, the thing is, I mean, yeah, I would get down with that. I also have had people message me too, and I'm like, oh, I don't think I have anything right now, but I've kind of forgotten about it until we just bring it up right now. I kind of keep forgetting that I have that stuff because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
I only go back on those hard drives.
How long ago did you film those?
I mean, it would probably be like 2 years now.
You won't even look the same at all.
Well, people just keep posting, you know, the picture of me because I look so tan. Like at the time, like I look like a totally different. I look like I just came out of Hawaii or something.
A real Chad, yeah.
It's the picture on my IMDb page is me at my table, like eating a pork chop or something.
You were egg brown back then before you became egg white.
That's right.
Well, yeah, if anybody wants to edit Eggy's 2-year-old cooking videos, let us know. And again, the King Cobra snack test, in which we made. Have we spoiled what the recipe is yet? Should we just say it?
We did not. We could say, I could tell you it's from like the quote-unquote spice era, so that's why my voice is probably gonna sound like this in it, but...
Yeah, long ago, we actually made the King Cobra Candy Calzone, which I assume we have to spell with as many K's in a row as possible. But you know, just spoiler alert, it was not good. So
well, 50% of the people involved in the snack testers had a negative opinion, and I was the 50% that had a more positive opinion.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, 50%, that's like an A+, right? I think that's pretty good.
I think that's what my GPA was when I graduated.
So expect that, and then as far as making another Wings video, it is tricky. You know, that's the real question of the day. Not only will we make another one, but should we? Because after you do something that everybody loves, your first instinct is to just do it again, but You look at stuff like Ghostbusters 2, The Hangover 2, all these sequels that just tread the same ground. You'd think everybody would love it all over again, but no, it's always met with disdain and hatred, and it seems like people wanted the same, but also entirely different.
Well, I think the only way to really know for sure is to just go through with it anyway, and I think usually from there...
I think we just have to bring a whole new level, because really, honestly, on the day of filming, if that was our B game, we just have to reinvent ourselves with a brand new A game to really make the sequel justify its existence, right?
That's right.
We have to really go above and beyond to give them something they have not seen before.
I mean, I'm talking about we're going to go buy an Xbox and Kinect, and we're going to hire a woman from Craigslist that resembles a former Flame who may have gotten, let's say, turned to black.
Culturally enriched.
That Flame got blacked out, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, and we're going to buy Kinect and whatever game that was, and we're going to do the exact same exercises.
We could
It's called method acting, and it's what it takes to get to the next level, and I'm ready for it.
Are you saying we should release this exclusively on Pornhub and literally have footage of Brandy getting blacked while Wings is watching? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm not sure if that would be the next step.
I'm gonna ruin my king-sized bed with this shit!
I'm not sure if that's the angle that everybody's gonna be looking for, but then again,
okay,
I was wrong the first time.
Brandy look-alike actress on Craigslist, Iowa. Okay, it's searching.
Here's what I found on the web.
Okay.
We got cars.
Rim Time Custom Wheels and Tires. D National Consumer Law Center. PETA, no kill policies, slowly killing animals. I don't know if we're finding what we're looking for.
Well, I think the PETA article is talking about slowly killing animals. It might refer to a bucket incident that has...
That was a slow, horrible death. I guess we could
matter of fact, Moz,
kill an animal.
Anybody talking about PETA in the chat? Let's get that out of here. Come on now.
When no-kill animal shelters and rescue groups are filled to capacity, which is almost always, they are left with two options: turn away more animals than they take in, or warehouse animals, often in substandard, filthy, and severely crowded conditions.
Similar to a bucket?
Yeah, I'd rather be in one of these cages than under a bucket, especially if that, fat 4-year-old's not coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, that reminds me, I was at Walmart yesterday, and they have a plus-size section for toddlers now.
Oh, my God.
I was like...
For real? Is that what we're coming to?
I'm a 450-pound, 30-year-old toddler. My life can't get much worse. But yeah, they have a plus size for toddlers at Walmart now. So I was like, USA.
Well, here's a tweet I put out the other day that was somewhat popular, based on my Twitter statistics. I don't know if you agree with this.
Okay.
I said the Supreme Court should next make it illegal to be obese.
Oh, well, I got into a fisticuffs last year about that, as you might recall. Or maybe don't.
No, tell me that story. I don't remember.
Well, I was at a family function last May, and there was some family friends there as well. Now, we'd all been drinking quite a bit. I probably put down about a case or so myself at the time. And I said, listen, you know what? I think it would be a really great idea if we just rounded up every fat person and put them in a prison and help them lose the weight by not letting them...
So you are on board. I was worried you would be against this for some reason.
Well... See, I thought it's kind of like, we have drug rehab. If somebody's on drugs or whatever, they go to prison and they got to dry out or whatever. So we dry them out from Twinkies.
Yeah, I was saying you have to, much like how you have to show your ID to buy booze, you should have to show your BMI to buy soda. And if you're not under 30 BMI, you can't buy that soda, you can't buy the Twinkie. Let's move the stand before we keep kicking it.
Okay.
So what do you think? Should we have your BMI listed on your ID, and I guess you have to update it every 3 months now or something, but it might be the only way to save America. Here's how bad it's getting. I did a depression chamber stream where some girl said, oh yeah, I don't know why I can't get a boyfriend. I feel like I'm pretty average. I'm 5'1", Hispanic, and 161 pounds. And I thought, let's run that bad boy through the calculator real quick. You are literally obese. How do you think you're a 6 out of 10 when you are literally obese? And people in the comment section were like, oh, is it just me? Am I tripping? Or is 160 pounds not so much? Is that what we've come to? Is that how fat Americans are? That we think the average standard of beauty, not so bad, is literally medically obese. We need the Supreme Court to step in. Clarence Thomas might be the only one. He's saving all these babies' lives in the fetus. He can save our lives from consuming all that fucking sugar.
Well, and the thing is, too, really, when we look at it in a more sane country, I think it would be pretty cut and dry, because the amount of money that we're spending on obesity-related illnesses every year is it's absolutely insane. I mean,
my health insurance premiums would be cut in half if all you motherfuckers would lose some goddamn weight.
Well, I mean, we're sitting here and we need to take the nicotine out of cigarettes because too many people are getting sick. But at the same time, obesity is the number one thing that's filling up the hospitals constantly, and it was the number one comorbidity with that heckin' plague of Reno that we were dealing with the last couple years.
I saw an article that 60% of American women are over 170 fucking pounds. I mean, come on!
I was once 160 pounds about 10 years ago, and I was about an average weight at that time for being 6'1". So
yeah, and women who are a foot shorter than you think it's okay. Whatever. If you manage to somehow get a girl who is not morbidly obese, people, you hang on to her because they're a dying breed, literally an endangered species.
Welcome to Club Chad. Me and Clarence Thomas are the bouncers, and step right in, sir.
And just to be clear, when I'm talking about my hatred for fat people, it only applies to women. Men, please, you can do whatever you want. America was built for you, white men, get as fat as you want. But those women, hit the treadmill maybe.
Sam Kinison, Chris Farley, Rodney Dangerfield, they brought joy to a lot of people.
Biggs.
The last time that a fat woman brought joy to anybody was the McDonald's CEO when he looked at his quarterly gains. He's like, that's it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if a fat woman has ever given me joy in my entire life, and I've literally had sex with fat women, and the answer is still no.
It is what it is, YouTube.
So, do you have, off the top of your head, any other laws of the land that Clarence Thomas should perhaps consider on the Supreme Court?
Well, from what I heard, he's already got a lot on his plate of consideration.
Yeah, he's trying to ban, gay people, interracial relationships.
He was going to ban condoms. I worked for Quick Trip, this gas station up in the Midwest, back in 2015, around the time where I was making my first YouTube videos. And, we didn't sell any kind of condoms there because the CEO was a very trad, and he said that condoms are just sort of like a get out of family free card. He said, listen here, Chud, if you're about to, knock it down, you better stick around and have that money coming through.
I've been confused about that because, is he implying the only place semen should ever go is inside of a cunt? Because,
that's
does he never jerk off? If he has a wet dream, does he have to fucking pray to Jesus and ask for forgiveness for wasting all that precious semen? Or, I don't get it.
Well, depending on what century we're looking at, I do believe, if we take it back to, the year 0, I think that was pretty much the most trad thing.
Yeah, but your story was from 2015, which is a little more recent than year 0, I think.
Well, but that is true, but from my understanding, I think the most trad position is that anything that is not reproductive is basically a sinful pleasure.
Yeah, did God kill people for jizzing on the floor? Do I remember that right from the Bible? Okay, Google.
Well, listen, you know what? King Cobra loves Satan, and he jizzes on the floor, so...
Okay, Google. What is God's policy on jizzing on the floor? I swear that was in the Bible.
Found these results.
Death is the biblical penalty for ejaculation of semen on the ground. Yeah, I knew this was true.
That's right.
I did take an Old Testament class at one point in college.
Well, wasn't the Old Testament replaced with the New Testament?
I think some people of a certain small hat tribe might disagree, but... Er was wicked and the Lord slew him. Judah commanded his son... whatever, I don't care about this shit. Where's the part with come?
Well, basically...
Onan ejaculated his semen on the ground. The Lord slew Onan. So don't be an Onan, folks. No more coming on the floor.
No more Onan the Barbarian. We're civilized. It's for the pussy.
Yeah, if you've ever jizzed anywhere but a pussy, or maybe even a bussy, who knows how modern God's interpretation has become, but... So what you're saying is Clarence Thomas is for not jizzing on the floor.
Well, he might, if he's like, well, we're not killing enough anymore now that we made the babies survive. So next up, we're gonna replace.
We need to balance
all
shit
the
out.
babies that were going out. It's gonna be people jizzing on the floor instead, and he's gonna hold a picture of King Cobra's chatterbait. It's not good, folks.
All right. Do we have anything else we wanted to talk about today, or should we just move on to some Patreon questions?
Well, I think we could probably do these Patreon questions, and if it sparks any greater ideas that we've been forgetting to think about, then we can expand.
Okay. Eggy, are you a big game show fan? I know we, from time to time, watch 1980s Price is Right, but are there any other game shows that really speak to you? And we also play Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but we're not good at that.
Right. I've watched a lot of game shows in my time, but they've made so many. Like, before they came up with, like, writing shows, like, initially like, in the 50s and 60s and all that, it was, like, game shows all day, every day, which is nice and enjoyable, but I would say that I probably don't have a lot of, like, deep knowledge of a game show beyond that.
Well, here's a question from Mochi, who wants to know, what game show do you feel 100% confident that you could win? Clearly, we can't say Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, but I've watched a lot of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? And honestly, most of those questions are pretty fucking easy. So I think that would be maybe my best bet. It's certainly easier than Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you get the same prize. What game show do you want to be on?
Well,
you should be on Survivor if that counts. I think you would be people would be glued to the screen to see you.
Yeah, I basically, if there's one thing I am good at, it's surviving against all odds, so that is true.
And it's a social game as well. I think you could convince people to vote out everybody else other than you.
And people say I do have a particular charm, especially when I'm going on completely alcohol-fueled tirades, but see, there's none of that on Survivor, so I'd really keep it together.
No alcohol out there.
There wouldn't be any outbursts.
Speaking of divine... or perhaps, I can't even think. It's too early in the morning for me to think of these big 5-syllable words, but...
Intervention?
Inspiration. I was going for divine inspiration from these great Patreon questions. Speaking of surviving in the woods, maybe an upcoming Wings of Redemption video could be the godforsaken survival trip with PKA that never happened. Maybe I could be Woody or Kyle, and Wings could finally prove, and we could literally actually go out and live in the woods for 2 or 3 days. That might not be a bad idea.
I would certainly have fun with that. And you know what? If everything goes to shit and it's terrible, I have enough body fat to survive a few days. So you know what? I think that's cool with me. That sounds like a good idea. If you want to see us surviving in the woods off sticks and twigs and dirt, make sure to upvote in the comments below. Thank you.
So the game show that you think you could win, did we decide that yet? What about Deal or No Deal? Do you feel like you're extremely lucky and could pick something with 1 in 26 odds?
I think I could do The Price is Right, because basically since I'm one of these millennials, the kind that can't afford anything in life, I have to constantly check every single price of everything all day, every day to make sure that I can continue surviving. So I have the survivor element there, but also I have the financially astute and observational skills to know what things cost, unless Drew Carey's going to switch it up. Like, he doesn't want me to win, so he's going to be like, oh, that car costs $4 million.
Yeah, Drew Carey knows that you're a big chud, and he does not want you to drive off.
It would really break my heart, because I really loved the Drew Carey show back in the day. Did you know that show was never completely archived anywhere, and the only archive that exists is a torrent.
What?
Which,
there's no DVD or nothing?
No, it has the whole series, but some of them were like filmed like the TV screen with a camcorder in like 1997.
What? That's crazy. Yeah, I used to watch reruns of that. I didn't know they completely shit the bed on preserving it.
That's what I've been told. I just figured out recently, because I had that opening montage. The opening of that show was true Kino. So I went to go see if I could go get a copy of it somewhere, and that's what I was told. So.
What about Whose Line Is It Anyway? Were you a big fan of that?
I did watch it a lot when I was younger, just because I also watched the Drew Carey show, and so then I would watch that because I got familiar with the characters. And actually, I haven't watched the show in years, but as I recall, I was quite into it and quite a fan. And I've been pretty good about improv as far as I've been able to tell, so I think that might be up my alley as well.
Yeah, I tried to rewatch it as recently as like a year ago, and man, a lot of it was really cringe. I don't know, maybe I just have bad experience with theater kids, back in the day, but I used to really love that show, and now it's like, okay. anytime that Colin or Ryan are not on screen, I'm kind of cringing to myself. So they got to stop inviting women on that fucking show, because they're not funny at improv ever, not once.
I think I was watching in the Superior Woman Free era when it was all MGTOW.
Yeah, get like who's that black guy who thinks he's white? Who's always on there? Now he's the host of Let's Make a Deal, which is another game show you should go on.
Steve Harvey?
Very well could be. Yeah, how about Family Feud? I think we could do well at Family Feud if we had to go on a game show. Yeah. I think I'm tapped into the American populace.
I don't think the hosts kiss you on the mouth anymore. That was kind of my initial hang-up. I don't think they do that anymore, so I think we'd be good to go.
You don't want Steve Harvey's big, manly mustache rubbing up against yours?
No. The only time I remember interacting with Steve Harvey was there's this rapper, Tay K, and I went to go look up his song one time, and Steve Harvey's official YouTube with like 10 million subscribers or whatever was like commenting.
What did he say?
Well, no, it was like you could tell it was like the guy that was running the account or whatever. It was like his social media manager was like, "Yo, this is heat, bruh."
Well, he was logged into the wrong account by mistake, maybe.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like whoever his social media manager is. But yeah, I remember screenshotting it and posting it on Twitter at the time, and everybody was having a good chuckle.
So I guess my answer to this age-old question would be I would love to go try out Survivor. I'm not 100% sure I would win, but if they cast a bunch of, loonies and retards, I could probably outmaneuver them a little bit. But throw me in there with Russell Hanson. We'll be in the final two for sure. New question from Robelli. What are your top 5 favorite anime series? Oh boy, now we're going to be here all day with Eggy and his anime love.
That's right. Well, see, the thing is, too, is because I'm very particular about, like, what my top things are, because I'm more of, like, I like this for this reason, I like this for that reason. So I think I'm going to probably just say, let me give, like, a top 3, maybe, to start me off here. I'm a really big fan of Kaiji. That's definitely a great series if you haven't seen it. As somebody who's always been very impulsive and risky in my life, definitely had a lot of themes in that series that I enjoyed.
Yeah, is Squid Game just a rip-off of Kaiji?
Well, I think maybe that it might just be a sort of... in Asian culture, there's a lot of like particular tropes.
Degenerate gambling,
like gambler, like risks it all for that last chance and stuff like that or whatever. I think that's kind of something that's been around. Of course, I also gotta say, welcome to the NHK. Definitely a classic. I mean, even after 15 years since the first time I watched it, I just rewatched it again recently. It still holds up. If you're out there and you have lived your life a certain way, the NEET, the NEET lifestyle, the underachiever, the whatever, you could always rewatch that anytime. It always holds up, in my opinion. Record of Lodos War, the original 13-episode series, big fan of that. If you like Dungeons and Dragons, you can't go wrong. I'm talking about the real Dungeons and Dragons. They keep changing everything to be all weird every year, as time goes on, but I'm talking about the real meat and potatoes. You can't go wrong with that. I'd love to rewatch that on relatively frequently as well. And we've been watching some of the original Dragon Ball. That definitely is still an absolute classic.
Yeah, that is some Kino for sure.
I think that whatever iteration is going on now is fine too. But once again, I really am I like the meat and potatoes. Same thing with like Pokemon. I really like where it started from. That's just kind of me. Even World of Warcraft, the last time I played vanilla, up through Nox Ramus, did some raiding there, got my tier 3. All the extra and everything like that, it just kind of gets a little too crazy after a while for me.
Yeah, surely it's just coincidental that all these animes were better when we were young children watching them, and now that we're adults, it's like, the modern day version of this is not as good. Yeah, I wonder what happened. I wonder what could have changed. It's a rough one. The best anime of all time is the anime of all animes, the pinnacle of anime. That is Bobobo, the show that combines every anime into one and really articulates just how wacky tobacco those Japanese folks really are. That's one where you might want to skip maybe the first 10, 12 episodes and wait until they actually start doing something, because really I think the writer just wanted to goof off for a long, long time. But once they actually start taking, I mean, they don't really take it seriously, but once they actually start following a story and a plot, that show, its highest highs, I would put up against any other comedy I've ever seen.
Did you ever play the PS2 game they came out with?
No, I did not. Can we torrent that, or can I buy it off of eBay? Because I would like to play that.
I think I'd have to check and see. I every so often, because I think it might have been a Japanese release, but every so often, a lot of people out there in the emulation community will work to do like translation patches for games that never had a release elsewhere. So I'm not sure if that one has had one, or maybe it did have an eventual English release, as far as I know, because I just remember seeing it in like GamePro many, many years ago, like decade or so or more ago.
Well, I would like to partake if I have the opportunity. I know people are probably expecting me to say One Piece, but truth be told, the One Piece anime is very frustrating and makes me angry because, do you know the difference between Naruto filler and One Piece filler?
I still have never watched Naruto or One Piece.
So Naruto does filler correctly, where the anime will basically be a one-to-one translation of the manga, and then they'll have just filler arcs, and it's like, okay, basically the next 3 months it's going to be made up shit that does not matter, so you can just skip it and not watch it. Who cares? Come back for the canon material later. One Piece will fill canon episodes with 10 minutes of filler, so you literally cannot skip them. Instead of doing filler arcs, which they still do from time to time, it's just every episode has fucking half filler in it, and it's unwatchable, slowly paced fucking trash. I think that is why One Piece has such a poor reputation. Not because of fucking 4Kids, but because the official release sucks fucking cock. It sucks so bad. I don't know how anybody can watch the One Piece anime weekly without reading the manga and still be a fan. It is so fucking horrible.
Well, so don't they have that on like Netflix or something right now, the One Piece anime?
Yeah, it's in the early days they did not have that issue, but after 20 fucking years of trying to stay behind the manga, pacing, it has gotten to the point where maybe 15% of the episode actually happened in the book, and they're just filling it with reaction shots. A fight scene that lasted one panel will be stretched into 6 minutes, and they're not even making it interesting. It's just fucking trash. So my answer would be the edited version of the One Piece anime that is done by fans. That is one of my top anime, and it's not even an official release. You literally have to illegally watch like One Piece Kai edited by the real fanboys to even get a glimpse of how good this story is. So I guess if that counts, an unofficial fan release of the anime of One Piece. And I don't know if there's anything else even worth mentioning that I haven't talked about a million times before. But yeah, One Piece anime, fuck off. Make that shit seasonally, please, for the love of God. I don't need fucking filler every single week. I don't even watch the anime because it pisses me off so much. So, let's see, another question. Where's the Triflers retrospective? Good question. Maybe I should do that. I'm a little scared to read something that I wrote when I was 20, but I'm still selling it, so it's got to be worth something.
If it's good enough for iDubbbz, it's good enough for me, you know what I'm saying?
I don't know if he read it. I think somebody sent it to him and he threw it in the trash. But at least it was featured for one moment. If you choose to, this is from Charlie, if you choose to review Jurassic World for a Kino, would you also watch the new Prehistoric Planet series as a comparison? The answer is no to both. I'm not going to watch any of that gay shit. What about you, Eggy? You big fan of dinosaurs?
Well, we had one of the trailers before one of the movies we watched recently that had some kind of like Jurassic Park like car ad where he's like driving, he like finds a dinosaur and he's like driving around with it. None of the dinosaurs in this footage were scientifically accurate. If you don't know, scientists verifiedly fact check now that the original dinosaurs were the like what do you call ancestors of birds.
So they had feathers and shit?
Dinosaurs were supposed to look like giant, like crazed out chickens, basically. Now, if they had some historically accurate dinosaurs in Jurassic World where they're looking like giant, like 80-foot tall, vicious rooster mutants, then I would happily watch it. But until I have some kind of secondhand confirmation whether or not that's true in the footage of either of those programs, I think I'm also going to pass.
Yeah, I think the Minions movie gave you the mutant chicken monsters more than, any Jurassic Park movie ever will.
That's right.
Here's a good one, Eggy. You can probably answer this better than me because you are a man of many years, much wisdom. Where were you on 9/11? Bloat wants to know.
Oh, well, I can remember it very fondly because
How old were you?
I was in 4th grade at the time.
Okay. So you guys were watching TV. They said, "Oh, okay, class, time for our daily viewing of the Today Show. Let's see what Matt Lauer has to say." And then everything just went sideways real quick.
No, my teacher was Mrs. Trapanese. And,
are you kidding me?
No, that's what her name was.
Trapanese.
Trapanese, yeah, Mrs.
Okay.
Trapanese.
Sounds like a Wojak green text
I used
story.
to call her Mrs. Trapezoid because that's like a shape we learned, so I call her Mrs. Trapezoid, but no, her name was Mrs. Trapanese.
I'm sure the Zoomers now call her Mrs. Trap, and she just has no clue what's going on.
Well, I think she was like 70 years old 20 years ago, so...
She might be trapped in a coffin now.
It is quite possible, but... So I grew up about 3 blocks away or so, maybe 4 blocks away from my elementary school, so I could just walk. I would just walk to school. I would still be late every single day, by the way, because I would pretend I was like a caterpillar, and so I would like crawl on the ground and stuff. But anyway,
you weren't running to class with a piece of toast in your mouth, and you're late for school.
Not quite.
Okay.
But so I got there, about the same time I usually did, which is like a couple of minutes after school had already started. And I walked into class, and there was nobody in there. It was just her sitting at the desk. And she said, "Miles, you can go home. There's something that's happened. You need to go home, and you'll have to talk to your parents, but we're not going to have class today." And I was like, yes, awesome. That's great. I don't have to go to school. So basically, even though I live...
one of the best days of your life, 9/11/2001.
Well, so basically, I spent about an hour walking 3 blocks home because I was like, I was picking grass out of people's yards. I was doing all that stuff that, a child with autism does when he's left to roam around with no supervision. And so by the time I got home, my mother, she was home and she was, had the television on. She was very distraught. And I didn't really quite understand what the big deal was, so then I just went and played outside for the day. And I had a very full, rich day of outdoors play that day.
You didn't try to comfort your mother by saying, you might be sad now, but one day these memes are going to be so funny. They're going to have the minions flying into those towers, turning red. The panda's going to lose her mind. She's so distressed with what's going on.
If I knew then what I knew now, I could have had some really funny jokes as that, I could have been a lot more popular.
Yeah, I would like to think if I was a teenager or an adult during 9/11, I would have been cracking those jokes literally the minute that the plane hit the tower. Not because I'm an edgy monster, but because I want to comfort those around me. And the only way to do that is to mock the death of thousands of innocent people.
Well, laughter brings joy, and what else would you want to bring to someone who's grieving besides joy?
Yeah, you cannot spell slaughter without laughter.
That's right.
As for me, I was 6 years old at the time, literally did not even know anything happened. I don't even think we got out of school early or nothing. I don't think they even told us shit. I didn't even know 9/11 happened until I was also in 4th grade, so I guess we both found out in 4th grade, just a couple of years apart.
Yeah, I had a good time in elementary school, because I think also when I was in 3rd grade, there was like a teacher strike, so we didn't start school until November that year.
Oh, hell yeah.
So it was 2 back-to-back wonderful years, 2000 and 2001.
And your primitive education has not been affected. You're still a very intelligent individual, and...
That's right, Thankfully, YouTube had enough of the red pill for me to take before they started, shutting it down over there. But...
Yeah, what does that say about the modern day students who have also missed out on 2 years of elementary school education? Are they going to have to just turn to Jordan Peterson for their education now since the schools cannot do it?
Well, I'm sure actually, you know what we probably should do? We could take advantage of that. You know what?
Start our own school for kids?
I'm starting to, I keep my eyes peeled for the latest grift. I mean, not that I would do it. I just, with what I do, I need to be knowing about what's going on. I need to be observant and everything. But yeah, there's probably going to be a great pocket of like, does your child not know what a human face looks like? Has he been thinking people are mask-faced for the last 2 years? Well, Come to Elvis and Jimmy's Faceatorium. We're just gonna hit them with that.
The Faceatorium Wonder Emporium.
We'll just, we're gonna teach the same class every day. This is a nose. These are lips. You know what? IQ. We're gonna have a fake doctor say your IQ goes up by 100 points, and you know what? Boom. I'm just like every other businessman, and life will be sweet.
Yeah, if kids are now used to going to school on Zoom for 2 years at a time, I don't see why we couldn't just do online classes for not even just showing a face, but maybe teaching manners. I'm guessing, thanks to the vaccine now, maybe like 80% of kids are autistic, so we could really tap into the autistic child market. It's hard enough for these kids, these autistic children, to recognize facial expressions. So now that everybody's wearing a goddamn mask, like, that has got to be 5 years on the decline now of really recognizing what is anger, what is a face that says, hey, stop hitting on me, I'm a woman at the bus stop, I don't want to talk to you. You know, that kind of stuff, that these autistic children, they're not equipped to understand what these things mean. So I think you're right. We need to teach them what a scowl looks like, what a smile looks like.
I need to teach them what being screamed in their face at the top of my lungs looks like.
That's right. Eggy is the most expressive person I know, so we will have him screaming in the face of your children like, I'm mad! This is what anger looks like! And they're like, oh, okay. They're like taking notes on it.
We're unrelated. We're also later on going to be opening up a school for hearing impaired children. You know, where it's going to be in the same building. We're just going to lead our entire class from one room to the next after my megaphone comes out.
That's a good point. I should get out my megaphone for this podcast. We need to see how much.
If you subscribe to the Patreon, 50% off your first hearing impaired teaching class.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just like a bunch of earwax stuck in their ear. So if we scream loud enough, maybe we can break through it and they can hear properly again. Nico Taito wants to know, what's gayer, having sex with men or being Canadian? You have much experience with Canadians, Eggy.
Yeah, you know, I'm originally from Minnesota, so, you know, basically they'd sneak over from time to time. You'd see them.
The Canada of the United States, really.
Yeah, well, I would say basically, that's a tough one. That is a tough one because, I mean, if you're a man and you're having sex with another man, I think that's, you know, I think even the people that are really up on the wokery would agree that does fall into the gay category.
I don't know. These days, men can have pussies, and there's nothing gay about...
Yeah, but it's a man's pussy, so that means if you're a man and you're having sex with a man's pussy, you know, listen, I'm not here for Ben Shapiro's heck and chuddery. If that's a man's pussy,
hey, according to Clarence Thomas and God, as long as my jizz is going inside a pussy, everything is good to go. And as long as the trans man is not Canadian, I think it is perfectly straight.
All right, you got me there. That is true, you know,
What would be gayer, having sex with Biden or having sex with Justin Trudeau? I'm guessing Trudeau is more gay.
That's true. Biden, he released this song for his campaign back in 2020 called "Back End Chains," and that was he kind of. I mean, he was pretty. I don't think Justin Trudeau has had some controversial makeup for sure, but the things that Joe Biden's mouth was saying was not made up. You know.
Wait, you think Brandy slept with Justin Trudeau, and that's how she got blacked? It could be.
Well, then the Wings could, probably be pretty proud of that. You know that he was, his girl was good, was world leader tier.
It really gives a whole new meaning to ride in with Biden.
But anyways, I would say also, just being Canadian, like being born in Canada, does not necessarily make you gay.
It doesn't?
It's how much you kind of lean into actually like the whole Canadian way of life. I mean,
what are some details? What are the gay aspects of their way of life?
Well, I mean, they did have those nice guys up there that parked their trucks and were doing a nice medley of horn instruments, I heard. So those guys, were probably on the straight and the narrow.
You don't think those band kids driving the big trucks might have been gay?
I don't know if I did enough of a breakdown of since I wasn't up there to see for myself. I should have probably gone, but...
That could have also helped those deaf kids break through the earwax, all those truckers in Canada.
It's too late for a field trip. You know, if they ever come back and get back to it again, we'll definitely have our school up and running by then, and we'll all gain a lot of experience and a lot of education from being a part.
I'm trying to find any final questions, but again, you guys are just complete failures all around. Like, it's so easy. You join the Patreon, you go to the Patreon Discord, you ask a question, and somehow, some way, there are no new questions after weeks and weeks. Lots of questions for Florian specifically, but I'm going to save those for when he's actually on the show again. Okay, here's one, and maybe we'll try to wrap up with this one from Notorious Pig.
Okay.
What is the most disgusting fetish that you've learned about through the internet? And if you had a button to kill everyone who's into that fetish, would you push it? Hard mode, no scat, and Dante Must Die mode, no lolly.
Well, there's no furry being in there, so then,
Kill all the furries, right.
I mean, well, because the thing is, I guess it's technically not maybe the most disgusting, because, like, immediately I'm thinking about sounding, which I'm sure you're familiar with. But I just don't think that...
Is that sticking things up your cock hole?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
That's pretty disgusting to me personally. But I'm going for more, that's more of a physical disgust. I think there's some things, there was a guy who used to do comics like 20 years ago. I can't remember, but they get posted. It was the meme of like, they had like the two like very masculine stylized, it was like father and son sex comics this guy used to draw. Oh well, no, it was like the meme was like bip bop boo, big banana boathouse, or like somebody like erased the text.
Like the Minions were there?
Probably. Somebody like erased the text out of the original panel and replaced it with like meme words. They had like the guy's eyes going crossways, but they used to get posted on 4chan all the time back in like 2006, 2007 maybe. And I remember seeing those full-length, extremely graphic gay sex comics at that age, and I literally got so upset I like found the guy's website and sent him a strongly worded letter.
A death threat?
Well, I can't remember specifically. I just remember it was very disturbing to me at the time. In like maybe it was something about the context of it. So there's things out there I think that are disgusting for maybe not always the most graphic reasons.
So specifically father-son incest, or just incest in general, or only when it's gay? Otherwise it's fine.
I think I would probably. I mean, yeah, I would say.
Father-son incest does seem, maybe I'm just homophobic, but that does seem worse than other family permutations, maybe. That seems fucked up to me. Maybe just because, me and my dad are such good friends.
Well, maybe I was just jealous at the time because, like, in the comics, the guys had, like, 8-foot-long cocks,
Oh, that was the issue? So big penis fetishization is your answer here?
Well, I mean, at least, I think... there's really, the internet has really fetishized so much. I feel like I still want to go for furries, because I think, it would be like the most general improvement to my way of life if, without them. Yeah,
I think, and this might be a trite answer, might be a little old school, some treaded ground, kicking this dead horse, literally. But the most upset I've ever been from a fetish image that I saw was people who would take their My Little Pony plushie dolls and put a fucking Ono hole or whatever in it, so they think that they're fucking a horse pussy from this children's cartoon. It's basically in the furry category, but the fact that it's specifically a My Little Pony from this children's show, and that he defiled this great toy with his disgusting fuckhole. I did not like that image. It made me very upset at a time in my life, so I might have to just go with that tried and true answer.
I think I would agree. I would imagine whoever was a brony like 10 years ago has only gotten much, much worse.
I can name a few. I can name quite a few people who fall into that category.
So I think that would be a safe bet. I could certainly handshake on whoever was a brony originally, because they've probably picked up every other fetish that exists in the entire world by this point.
Well, so to answer the other part of the question, would we push a button that would kill all of these former and current bronies? Undeniably, the world would be a better place, yes. But is it worth the slaughter?
I mean, I would be impulsive to say yes. I mean,
it would have saved me a lot of trouble over the years of those people who just dropped dead long ago. So maybe.
I mean, not to be too hasty or whatever, but yeah, I'd probably just do it.
It's like, oh, oops, and my hand slipped.
I feel like it's got to be at least even if it's like really bad, it's got to be at least like 60% good, 40% bad.
Yeah, got to weigh the pros and cons of this massive massacre. Well, Eggy, once again, we've come to the end of a treehouse. Somehow, some way, I did 5 episodes in a row. People thought the show would literally never come back, and yet, 5 weeks in a row, here we are, and you were on 2 of them. I think you've been on half of the overall episodes of this show. So thank you for joining me for episode 10. I believe we're on episode 10. And do you have anything you want to plug?
No, I'm kind of just doing me right now. Wait out for Simeon Spins Records. We're coming out with Eggy, Eggvis.
The best of Eggsvis. Is that going to be the new name, Eggvis?
Podcast. I'm talking all the time. This ain't nothing but a podcast, but we did it 10 times. I'd like to thank the audience for voting now. Woo!